Hello everyone, and welcome back to another live stream here on the twitch.tv/the the place where you can pretend that everything is alright, at least for a couple of hours. We got bananas in chat from May School, Spooky Dokie and Forgill, appreciate it ever so much. Been looking forward to streaming all day, and now that we start... Man, what is up with that? Look. Like, what a messy jumble. Now that we start, I need to remind myself what the plan was. I did make some notes. I did write some things down. We're going to just go build an lay tree, hang out and chat. And then do a few more things after that. It all rhymed. It all rhymed. Welcome to the peeps that are tuning in. It is a Monday, right? I was about to say Wednesday. I'm like, Wednesday? It's Monday. The days feel all over the place since getting back from holiday. Such an inspiring title, says Vinot. Well, I have not had a great day so far, and it hasn't been getting better. Winnie T Ford, thank you for 54 months. Hope all is well. Keep up the great content. Thank you, appreciate it, Winnie. You know how much I love streaming. I always come here and have a good time. And I've been looking forward to that because I'm struggling. I'm struggling with, like, the post-holiday blues, as I call them. And today they took a bit of a nosedive, really. And it's frustrating because when you get into those spaces, it sort of, like, affects everything. I can just feel like my decision making or the things that I'm interested in and want to do just fall wayside to this like underlying feeling. I don't have any more of those azalea leaves, dang. Have we got like the greens chest, which should really be dyed green? And don't I have some dyes? Which shade of... Oh, I see. Which shade of green should it be? I think I'm going to go with the darker one for now. Oh, wait a minute. What am I thinking? It's the azalea bush that you want to bone mill. Did you hear about the Mr. Beast burger opening? I did. He's now opening a store. Pretty cool, right? 15 fine, 12 months of support, saying 1 year. Can't catch the stream today since I'm in the middle of class, but have a good one. Thank you for tuning in and subscribing anyway. Good luck with your class. So, if I take this... Oh, it's only those that I've got on bone mill. It makes a tree, right? That's not bone mill. It is bone mill. So we need a box of bones, which I have. Oh yeah, I need to do my daily quest. Oh, I don't have a box of bones because... Right, I had a box of bones and granites, but I think I left that back at my base. I think we might need that for the daily quest. And then I need that for some food. Okay, so I'll go pinch some bones from my own shop. Wow, I thought I was all organised. When am I ever fully organised? But I've got a good excuse today. I've got absolute brain fog, so whatever. Oops, my apologies. Thank you for 5 months. Greatly appreciated. Yeah, you can probably tell I'm not my usual self, but you just got to get through it, haven't you? Let's grab some of those. Kinder RBLX says, would you actually face reveal if someone saved up enough coins? God, I couldn't... Can't even be bothered. So good to catch you live, says Jerikos. Glad to have you with us. Glad to have you with us, indeed. No hack, just quack says, have you talked to Grian yet? Oh yeah, because last stream I was saying about how I must go talk to Grian immediately. Right, let's go make some shears, or I probably already got some somewhere, but whatever. Are you okay, says Talbart? No. To be frank. That's why I wanted to stream, because I always feel better when I stream. We'll get there, we'll get there. It's just, it's what frustrates me about mood swings and ups and downs, you know? Like, I had a whole week just feeling absolutely great, having a great time, and it feels like now you got to pay for it. I remember hearing this thing about equilibrium, right? Like, your moods equalize over time. And the theory was that it's like the brain's mechanic to reel in some bad times after the good and vice versa. And that in general you're going to have an equal amount of both. So, you know, you go on holiday for a week, you have an amazing time, you've brought your mood all the way up, and now it comes crashing down. And I've always struggled with moods and mood swings in the past, and I don't know, I felt a fair bit brighter yesterday, and I had some fun playing on the server with Cubfan, and I kind of just started the day feeling like, oh yeah, we're getting back on track. But then I have all these jobs to do and all these commitments, and they start like piling up, and like I've done nothing today but just this thing, then that thing, then that thing, then this thing, and feeling like I've also done none of the stuff I needed to, and I don't wanna sit here and moan, right? Like I'm always Mr. Glass half full, right? You gotta look at things on the bright side, but my brain just won't go there. It's like it just keeps staying in this moody place, and I can't use my usual reasoning to like pick myself up and get on with it. So it just kind of feels like a roll of the dice. How will I feel tomorrow morning, you know? So yeah, anyway, y'all are my therapy, right? I come and stream. I usually end up after a stream feeling much better, which I'm hoping for. Because after today's stream, I'm gonna just take a couple of hours off. I'm just gonna be like, whatever, you know, take a break. I know I've got all this stuff to do, but take a break. Yeah, I've got some like big things just going on IRL, like, you know, personal stuff that I have to take care of that's like not interesting. Mostly just like difficult to do, and it takes up time. And yeah, I'm trying to take care of these things, and it's just like more and more stuff all the time. So I also had to go to the physio, and I turned up an hour early, and I was just like, why did I get it in my head that I was supposed to be here at this time? It's an hour later. So then I thought, well, I'll do some shopping, right? Go get the shopping done. And then I end up sprinting around on my bike as fast as I can to like get there on time. It's just like, oh. Okay. These are not saying them out loud. These are not real problems, X. Oh, you poor old you. Had to do your shopping, did ya? God, what a horrible situation that is. See what I mean? But it's just like the brain is in this weird state. And, God, I just feel so flat. Anyway, we just need to hang out and talk about some other things, and all will be good. Neo at Twitch, thank you for saying that. Really appreciate it. So Jemin says, do you have a pet X? Because that can make a massive difference for some people. I would love to have a pet like one day. Like, you know, I'm talking about how I've got like this list of responsibilities and things to do right now, which just are just a bit oh, they're just there every day and they're not getting anywhere, and it takes time, and it adds a mental stress. And like the idea is to have these lists, but to not let them be a weight, let them be a thing that you go and get into. But some of them are for like stuff that's, you know, you need to get done in life. They're not like creative endeavors, and it's just those things at the moment. What was that? What was that question again? I totally lost the train of thought. Anyway, I'm not going to make out like my problems are like big and catastrophic or whatever. I have this little place to vent every now and then, right? Oh yeah, about having a dog, that was it. So like, I absolutely love animals, and I definitely love having a pet dog, but it's a time commitment. That's what I was saying, you know, and I don't feel like I can commit that kind of time. You should visit a cat cafe. That sounds incredibly therapeutic. That really does sound amazing. I've seen them before. Aren't they like big in Japan? I don't think they're much of a thing over here. Right, what do I need? Cobbled deep slate wall, glass panes now. The inventory is gonna like slowly fill up as we need more and more stuff. I'm gonna leave these things over to like one side for later on, just so we've got those extra slots, and we'll build the last tree here. Right, I haven't read some noises in a while. I think the last one I read was oops, my apologies, so thank you again. Poster Nerd, thank you for 6 months. Soul of Voxut, thank you for 8. Thank you for the virtual hug. Cole Mick, thank you for 17 months. Jay Icarus for 3. And Puzzle Freck for 51. Greatly appreciated. There are 4 cat cafes in London, X, says Curls. Wow. Okay, I'm going to make a note of that. I mean, I can't just hop on the train tomorrow and go to London. But, maybe I can plan that. So what do we say? We got those now, and then I'll walk up there and find I need something else. That's how this works. Yeah, I'm losing my interest in this dynamic of like beautiful crazy build in a creative world, then bringing it into Hermitcraft. It just doesn't work with the way the inventory does. It's just this annoying game. My plan, though, is to, at some point, once we wrap up all the little threads we got going on here, there, and everywhere, is to pivot to trying to do some building without creative mode first, and going to focus that around using shulker boxes, which are box pallets. But yeah, when it ain't working, change the way you play, you know, is essentially the essence of that thought. Have fun, cats are the best. Friendly cats are that let you pet them, probably are. The ones around my street, like if one's looking slightly friendly or less intimidated, I'll stop and try to stroke it, but usually they just run away. I've also noticed lately some cats have been in my garden. Like, it feels like it's been years living here that I've rarely ever seen a cat in the garden, and now I've seen quite a few lately. It's like maybe they just decided they're going to hang out over here now. That sounds like an interesting idea to try, says Mathax. The cat thing? We got more noises. It's Happy Cat 1928 here for 9 months. We got Liger gifting a sub to Garmonica. Dear Shemi here for 56. Whoopty, visit Cat Cafe. I might have to. Comboy, thank you for 64 months. A stack of months. Incredible. And thank you again, Liger. Garharmonic, be sure to say thanks in the chat. Oops, my apologies, says it's alright X, I'm sure you already know, but as a reminder, it's okay to let yourself feel and connect with those emotions. Don't downplay them either, even if the problem themselves aren't too important. To you, your feelings should be. Send virtual hugs. Thanks. Maybe I don't know, it feels like my way of dealing with emotions is finding the path to them not feeling like this. I don't even know what to diagnose how I feel is right now. It's just this constant, I don't know, it's like a depression, a gloom, and you know, I'm all right. Like it's pretty strong compared to how it's been in the past, but like it's just this weight that's like there, and it doesn't have like a reason. Like I can't, you know, why? Like there's no why to it. It's not obvious. It's not like someone just died or anything, right? And so I've always just, when this comes around, it's like I have my ways of dealing with it, and that hasn't really worked yet. But that's what's like frustrating is, I don't know, like why? Like what's wrong? Because all these things that I'm into, like one day and whatnot, the next just feel different. They just feel lower. Like I got a whole bunch of things I'm working on, right? And usually they're like exciting and can't wait to do this, can't wait to do that. Then all of a sudden the mood comes down and I can't think about those things the same way. So I see it like you have all these things going on in your head and then the mood just sways them into a direction. And so it's like, but I know I like this, or like this is what I want to do. And yet the mood just seems to be sucking the life out of it. Sometimes mental health just goes wonky for no reason. It's super frustrating. I'm dealing with it myself right now. You know it will probably pass, but it's not fun when it happens, the Starry Ravens. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like I've just got to weather the storm a little bit right now. And then hope it'll sort of level itself out and come back to normal. I guess it probably took me off guard because I had so much fun last night. Went to bed in a good mood. Slept well. And then just along the day, it's like if you could imagine your mood was a graph, it was just slowly ticking down throughout the day, and then started to accelerate once I before I got to go and stream. Probably when I noticed that like an hour had gone. Like I've had 2 missed hours today, right? Like the first one was turning up an hour early for an appointment and then being like, uh-oh, what am I gonna do? We'll try and get this thing done in between. And then when I had my lunch, like a salad, when I looked at my clock, it was like almost 2. And I thought, but hang on a minute, didn't it just turn 12 a bit ago? Like, where did all that time go? I don't know what happened. I'm thinking you could possibly have some form of bipolar disorder. Obviously, go to a mental health professional before diagnosing anything. It seems the most likely thing according to what I'm hearing. We're here for you, X, says Victoria Moon. I once would have maybe self-diagnosed as having a chemical imbalance. And then learned how to deal with that and then all the things to do with it. So what I'm going through right now just feels like something where I'll be looking back at it in a few days and being like, oh, that's over now. There's no meaning to it. It's really weird. It's like all the same stuff that I'm into, things that I like. They're just all of a sudden they're different in my head. They're just dragged down, and you know, it's not like I'm fixating on something bad that happened or something obvious. It's just everything just like getting sucked into a black hole. It's yeah, and then what am I? I'm in the middle of it and I can't stop thinking about it, and it just doesn't help. So anyway, maybe that's me getting that off my chest. Thank you for listening. And then like, what are we going to talk about in this stream? We could talk about so many things. Don't want to stick on the same thing forever. Yeah, I want to take a complete break and pick a movie. I was trying to oh, 17 minutes in. Brilliant. Okay. My mood has been slightly elevated by the news of tea. Okay, I was doing something while I was making my cup of tea, and that is an amazing tea reminder, and we will celebrate it with a tea emote. If you got a cup of tea all around the world, take a sip. May School's here for 90 months! 10 more to go! What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I had an idea at one point, I didn't write it down, I was like, there's a year left. What are we going to do, May School? You're starting the 100 club. That's what you're doing. Need a clubhouse. Good cup of tea. Thank you for all you do, my dude. Mace has been doing a lot for me. If I don't say it enough, I appreciate all you're doing, Mace. Lots of little things going on here and there that you're helping out with. It's awesome. So yeah, I wanted to pick a movie. I wanted to turn my brain off for a couple of hours after this stream. And I was having a look and I just didn't really like... Again, it's like the mood thing, right? If I'm in a good mood, my problem is I look at Netflix and I'm like, don't get distracted by all these potential movies you can enjoy. If my mood is sunk, I'm looking at them like, this will be a waste of time, that'll be a waste of time, right? Like, ugh. So I want to pick something that just, I don't know, lifts me out of that thinking. I thought I might try Napoleon Dynamite, but sometimes watching a comedy when you're not in a good mood, I found to be, like, it not helpful. "90 months is almost 8 years. Yeah, incredible, right? Okay, looks like we've got... Oh yeah, we've got a piece down below there. Jump across like this. Oh, would you like some secret, not secret, Amazing, not really that amazing. Interesting, but also you'll forget in 5 minutes news about Hermitcraft. Would you like some of that? If you do, just repeat what I said in chat. Type out every word. Because that was a really simple and coherent sentence. Okay, I selectively see people saying no. Actually, I see one person saying no. Well, if I only selectively look at that, you know, that one comment that said no, then it's 100%, you know. Small sample size, who cares? Hermitcraft, drum roll please. Dun dun dun. It's now on a new server. Oh, so exciting. Sort of, because it all looks absolutely the same. It all looks absolutely the same. Yes, it does. That was thanks to Mace as well. And Assassin as well helped a lot. There's a bunch of people helping, but we're now on new hardware. Yet to really, like, stress test it, I guess. But so far, absolutely no hiccups. It does feel like it performs a little better, but it kind of occurred to me that we didn't do any like performance tracking. All we've got is like anecdotal, subjective experiences now. So it needs a bit of a stress test. You know, a lot of people on to see what happens. But it does look better in the console. It does look like it runs on less CPU, or like it's using less of the CPU, which could be a good sign that the increase in power is, you know, doing what it needs to do. Based on the benchmarks we looked at, it kind of looked like you'd only be getting like 10% extra juice with a new system, and you know, it kind of looked like maybe it wouldn't be worth it, but we'll have to see. Hero Blender, thank you so much for 2 months of support, and Fegley with 18 months. Appreciate ya. Thank you for all you do with the support, people. Hope you're enjoying the stream. Yeah, because, you know, like every couple of years, computing power is supposed to sort of double, but there's been this sort of plateau of speed of processors in gigahertz, and it's sort of moved on to cores, like having multiple cores, and, you know, there's other performance factors that increase. But when you know, you've got similar gigahertz and you're running Minecraft, which uses single-threaded performance, those things like the cores don't really make as much of a difference. So it's been 4 years since we got the last Hermitcraft server. This new one, you know, if that Moore's law of like doubling power was still relevant in the same way, then in theory this might be twice as good an experience, but it doesn't always pan out like that. You know, if the previous one could run the game competently, it doesn't mean that, you know, an even more powerful system can just make it perform better, because it might already be operating at the peak of like what the code offers, I guess. Is a way to think about it. Another Evil X, Emma Lou Didu, 70 months. 70 months. Crazy numbers coming in today. Thank you so much for your continued support over the years. Greatly appreciated, and I hope we continue to have lots of fun together. It is my Twitch ambition at the moment to continue with the Hermitcraft. I do want to do a little bit of the redstoning stuff again, but I'm kind of in a mood for tying up loose ends. I noticed that there was just like ideas left, right, and center, and I want to get you know, lots of things finished before starting the next big thing, so to speak. We'll see how that pans out. But yeah, also I want to play variety games on a regular basis. I've now got a list for like the next month and a half of games to be playing on the weekends. So like Saturday mornings is going to be, you know, alternative games. We'll do some variety, some different stuff. It'll be fun. Hub Flopper, thank you ever so much for 21 months. Appreciate it, my dude. Hope you're enjoying it. If Scar's plan for 5,000 hoppers comes true, that might be a true case for the server. Why does Scar need 5,000 hoppers? That's a lot of hoppers. Smooth basalt. Then we need some mud. We have no idea. Oh, okay. Just randomly announces that he wants 5,000 hoppers. I should check on my iron farm. Not right now. Peeps, remind me later to go to the iron farm. Once we finish building this monstrosity, we also need to go to the iron farm and just stock up. That thing should be running. Occasionally something like goofs of it. And I go over there and it's like, where's the iron? Also, people are not in that area as much anymore, so, you know. He announced it on Twitter. Ah, okay. I got a little bit of a question for all y'all. You know, I always experiment with, well, I say I always experiment. I have experimented with various little things at time, like doing community posts. There's all these things that you should be doing as a YouTuber, they say. And I find myself not really having a strong gravitation towards some of these activities, like making shorts or community posts. But I do feel like, you know, if there's a good idea for it, there's a good idea for it. And I kind of wonder, like, what do y'all would you like to see from things like community posts and further interactions? Because it could be stuff that I could just quite easily share that I wasn't really aware was interesting, you know? Like, I probably wouldn't tweet if I had a project where it's like, oh, I need this many of these things all of a sudden. But then here all y'all talking about it. Chimera Dev says, I like community posts a lot. I liked it. I like reading the sort of feedback that would come through. But then I just sort of like ran out of ideas for things to share on there. I messed around with making some like GIFs of video of like projects that I worked on and sharing other things, and it's like you got to form a habit of doing it to some extent. Maybe notable stuff that doesn't quite make the cut in the videos, says Fair. Yeah, off the top of my head, it's hard to like identify what that is, you know, like. Where are those moments? Because the bits that ain't in the video are like me just flying around and grinding and I don't know. It's a good interaction because when I don't have a video to watch, I can chat and interact with the community posts. Yeah, that's a good point. Oops. Yeah, as a YouTuber, you know, I want to keep growing on the platform and doing things that are fun and interesting, but a lot of this stuff that comes around isn't like quite my wheelhouse. So it doesn't like come naturally, and I kind of want to figure it out. Like, what are the things I'm doing I can share with people? What do they want to see, etc. How about bloopers? The thing with me is that if I guess I have talky bloopers where I'm like, okay, I fluff those words up, let's try again. But they're not really interesting, I don't think. But then if there's a funny blooper, it's like, well, that's going in the video, right? So I also wonder if I should just, like, not bother. Like, if it really doesn't just appeal to you naturally, then maybe you're just not going to find a way to make that work. Like, not everyone has to do all that extra stuff, right? I thought that LA was going to be able to get free then, but it's just a visual glitch. I had an idea for a video recently that I thought it might be a bit on the short side, might be a bit hard to research properly, but I put out the Java Mojang Devs video while I was on holiday. I'm not sure I really had a post-stream chat about, sorry, post-stream, like post-video chat on stream about that yet. I've only streamed the once before today. Have I run out of purple glass again? Dang. I mean, I didn't exactly make a lot, did I? We got some more in here, but actually there'll be some, yeah, look, ready to go here. Let's take that much. yeah, I made that video to like, I wanted to really like enlighten people on how different the two things are, and like it's just not a simple comparison. It's not like, why can't Mojang do this? And it's, well, there's an answer to that question, and it's because Mojang isn't a modder. That's why they can't do that. There's all these other things that Mojang do. You know, they maintain the game, they have to make it work on tons of platforms, they have to develop it for multiple platforms. It's a whole different wheelhouse. And then you see these comments that are like, why can't Mojang do what this mod maker did? And sometimes what the mods them do themselves, like, they're not high quality, they're just extra stuff lumped into the game. No consideration for how it changes the, well, I mean, I'm sort of going to the like negative extremes a little bit here, but like there's the potential for them to not even consider what affects the vanilla gameplay, or to just completely do their own thing. Instead of trying to add to vanilla, you can add in things that would probably never be added to the game, like applied energistics will probably never make its way. So it's like they're two very different things. And I made that video, and then this other comment arose about the mods that optimize the game. Why can't Mojang just put, you know, Optifine's code into the game? And there's actually a bunch of reasons why they can't. Like legal reasons, because of the license of the code, and let's say they did, right? They just went and implemented it. Are people even aware that Optifine doesn't work on every system? You know, it's a small little operation by a bunch of people, and it's like some hacked in code that, yes, gives a lot of people an advantage, but it's not a properly developed solution for everyone to optimize the game. These things should be useful in tandem. And one of the things about that is stuff like the visual glitches. This right here isn't a proper visual glitch, but these sorts of things occur if you've got only just Optifine or Lithium or something running. Like certain layers of rendering get messed up, and there are visual glitches these things have, and that wouldn't be acceptable in the normal game. Like, you wouldn't just accept better performance for some people and then all these little quirky exceptions because of that. And it's just another one of those like unfair comparisons. To be honest, that video for me is a step in a cool direction on the videos you talk about Mojang. It felt really informational, but at the same time it has your touch and opinion added to it, and talk about it in an easy, understandable way. It's good content without a doubt. The best thing is seeing how the comments on that video complemented the video and others. It's really good. Yeah, there was actually a ton of great feedback. There were people chipping in. There were people thanking, like, hey, this is like enlightening. I now understand a bit more about the situation. And all that stuff is really great. But what does the mind like to do? It likes to focus on the negatives. It likes to pick up on the ones who didn't quite get the point. And so an idea for a follow-up video is to explain why Optifine can't be in the game. Why they can't just add Optifine, right? But it might be a little trickier to explain that. Might be some more details, and also like explaining stuff visually is a little tricky. I got quite a few comments from people who didn't really enjoy the B-roll. And when I thought about it again, I realized that there probably should have been more in-game Minecraft footage where you just use, I don't know, buildings, mobs, things that you've created as like metaphors for what you're talking about. But maybe next time, you know, it's going to be a learning process on how to produce these videos and make them better. It would be acceptable though. Vanilla Minecraft has plenty of bugs. It's not like mods are ruining a completely perfect polished game, says the Thinky. Yeah, I think it's about the amount of bugs though, right? Like, a lot of Minecraft's bugs aren't like detrimental to performance. They're like quirky things, right? And if I for example put Optifine on, I will get less frames. Like, it just doesn't work on my system. You know, and maybe if you understand this, like the code of how the rendering system stuff works, you might have a different opinion. But my experience of it is just like the modded community is way more niche than people realize. It's not the average player running a potato that's using Optifine. It's like a lot of content creators probably use it, and like obviously it's only for the PC market, so then you've got all the Bedrock and yeah, things are never that simple. It's just like, just put Optifine code into the game, right? That makes things so different in many different ways. Talbar says, wow, I just noticed the inventory update video got 1 million views. GG. Thank you. Thank you. That's awesome. Thanks for letting me know. Obviously, it's always a hope that a video does well. Good to know it's still going strong. What did I pop down for? We ran out of something. I sort of hopped down here without thinking about it twice. Oh, the hypathy. Yeah. Which I can make more of very easily. Product dev, software or hardware is a complex process, and it depends on the developers and their process. Waterfall Agile has a big impact on the user experience and perception of the game. What is Waterfall Agile? I've heard those terms in programming before. Yeah, I had a little experience being around like programming and projects, and it just sort of enlightened to me as to how not simple working in big groups and developing is. Oh, I needed glow lichen as well, didn't I? And there it is. Sweet. Their methodologies for how to plan out a large project, says Liger. Ah. Yes, that makes sense in the context that I think I've heard of Agile being talked about before. But yeah, like imagine like you get put in charge of, I don't know, what's like a really big project? Building a new city from scratch, or like a new residential district, like, and then just imagine you're like, right, we're gonna put some buildings over there, sort of point into the space. Okay, and you know that, well, it's not that simple. Like, you know that that's just not going to make things happen. So it's like, well, what do I need? I need blueprints. I need an architect. Right, then I'm going to need like planning permission and considerations, how these things work together. And then like as you're thinking about all of them, like all of a sudden there's going to be like this complex web, like branches of a tree springing out below you of like, you can't do all of this and you need other people to do it, and they can't do all of the things you're going to tell them to do, and so they're going to need other people. And so things like that, they get complex quick and they're tricky to figure out. So let's relate this to the modding thing. If you're a Minecraft modder, right, like other people have put in a bunch of work so that there's like a set of tools that you can just download and write your own code, push it into the game. If you fire it up and it works and it does what it wants for you, brilliant. There you go. You made a mod. You didn't have to develop the game. You didn't have to make it stable across multiple platforms and configurations of hardware. Like, all of that's done by someone else, which is like the problem with the perspective of just, why can't they do what modders do? It's, well, the modding thing is totally different. That's why. Now if you imagine that you're inside of Mojang developing like features for it and stuff, think about how many different departments you got to coordinate with, right? Like, it's not just you and your mod. It's like you got to make this work for PC players, Bedrock players, Pocket players, and then you got to consider like the long-term impact of features that you add on the game. Like, you know, there's the Pixelmon mod, right? Just bringing in Pokemon. You couldn't do that. That wouldn't make sense. So the whole flow is totally different, and there's so many moving parts and people that need to be coordinated inside of Mojang. It's one of those things. People have a bit of a quick sort of knee-jerk reaction to how these things work, I think sometimes. Like, why can't you just do that? And it's like, well, there's good reason for why not. MC Creator is good for that and getting more versatile. Yes, I've seen that tool. It's for Bedrock. It looks really cool. which allows like more user-based Bedrock content to be generated, I guess, be created or whatever. Hey, it's Crappy Toast here for 10 months. Can't wait to see the final result of the island. Well, there's a few little things like this, and the post. I mean, I wasn't planning on doing those today. It was just going to be finished the tree and get prepped for some other stuff. But I think we'll get this done in good time, and then maybe even finish the island. You can kind of see what it looks like when it's finished. Here and there. There are a few things that won't stay, like the dead corals. I was messing around with that, and I just couldn't get it to look right. So I gave up on it. Hey X, how long do you usually stream? I usually stream for 2 hours. I'm known on occasion to go further. To go deeper into the streaming abyss. As no one has ever called it before, but I now have. I wonder if there's a few others that I might have missed that go under the blocks here. I'll have to have a look. And I need to sleep before the phantoms come. Actually, the phantoms won't be here for a while. Unfortunately, peeps, we're not going to see the phantoms today. I know, you're disappointed. Where's that quality gameplay we all love? Alright, here we go. Have a little sip of tea again. Henceforth known as the streaming abyss, says Liger. Absolutely it is. Mm. 404 Dodgen says, I run a 1GB server, I put lithium and phosphor on it, and it makes my 1GB feel like a 10GB server. I know exactly what you mean. Gigabyte wouldn't really be the metric, though, for that type of performance increase. You're talking CPU. RAM is, you know, more storage of data, and, you know, you don't need a lot on a Minecraft server. But I know what you mean. And yeah, they do. You know, these mods do these things, but they do also at the same time compromise other features of the game. Like Paper MC is another one that massively optimizes a server, but it does it through compromises. And then, you know, at scale, how does that work when you give that to the entire player base? But, you know, we've talked about this for a bit. I don't want to... you know, I made my point very clear with that video because I spent a lot of time working on it. That video was in the work for like months. And it was great to get it out. It hasn't resonated or caught on quite like the other one, but that's fine. It's all a learning process, right? I mean, not everything you make can go viral. It's just some hit, some don't. You just keep doing it. Hey, we got Caspery here subscribing. Thank you ever so much, Caspery. Appreciate you coming on board with the subscription. The thing he says, I have 10GB of CPU. I remember years ago reading an article. Now, when I say years ago, if I just to give you a quick guesstimate, I reckon over 6 years at least. I think I was living back at home, and yeah, I read this article in a magazine, Computer Mag, about how they were working on a new type of flash type storage where the thing was so like good and fast for storing data, but also it could store it permanently like a solid state drive or a hard drive did, and then it could move data around fast like RAM does, because when you know, RAM is very fast for data storage, but then when you turn off the power you lose the data. So it was supposed to be able to do both of those things and computer processing. So it was going to be like storage, RAM, which, you know, storage I effectively could just replace RAM at some point if it can get crazy fast enough, but then also be the processor as well. And it was like a really weird, wild idea for you know, computers. And it's like, it's always this technology that's just around the corner, and then a bunch of years go by and you're like, oh, I don't know anything about that anymore. Like, I haven't heard a thing. Where did that go? And I happened to hear about it again recently. Like, I think it must have just been in a podcast or like a techie video that I was watching, and they mentioned it, and I was like, I heard about that years ago. I don't reckon it's going to come along anytime soon. Anyways, I got an important question to ask all of you. This is so important you wouldn't believe it, okay? And if anyone can tell me the answer, you will make my day today if I... Because I was going to watch a movie, and there's this movie that I want to watch. And I keep meaning to bring it up on my streams, and I keep forgetting. And yesterday, I tried asking on Reddit for some help identifying this movie. Didn't get anywhere, unfortunately. But, you know, we got 1,000 people here watching. Be sure to hit that follow button. And... hopefully, our collective knowledge will yield the answer. Okay, so I once watched. I've got a feeling I actually did say this on stream before, but I'm saying it again. I once watched a movie, and I have a memory of it. I also think I might have not actually watched the movie, but it might just be the trailer, and the trailer really stuck with me, and I never saw the movie. Because what I can remember would be great for a trailer, but I can't remember anything else about this movie. I also thought this movie was Event Horizon. I don't know why, but at some point, I don't know, it got stuck in my head that that was the movie. And when I finally got around to watching it, I was like, this is not the movie. Right? So what I remember is that there is a spaceship, a team of people, traveling to the edge of the universe. And when they get there, they see a reflection of their ship as they approach. Right? And I think the idea is that the movie's like a tense thriller horror because the tone changes right as they realise that everyone on the other ship, right? The ship's approach is like a reflection. They're looking at everything. They're going, oh, right, we've reached the edge and all we've found is a reflection. What's going on here? Then they notice that the crew on the other ship, because they can see them through, you know, the big window on the main deck or whatever it's called, and they notice that the people in it are not reflecting them. It's not Interstellar. It's not Interstellar. And Becca's reaction makes me think she's seen it too. I reckon it's either a 90s, early noughties movie. I reckon I would have seen it around then. Like quite an old memory. So I don't think it's any movie that was made before, let's say, 2005. It's a 90s, says Becca. Yeah, 90s would have been my guess. Because I would have seen, you know, you can see a movie around that time or a trailer for it and it actually be a couple of years old or something like that. So, it could even be an 80s movie. But the tone that I remember the trailer being in... Okay, it's not Futurama. I'll tell you that now. I went and checked. I got a suggestion on Reddit. It's definitely not that. I don't think my memory could be that obscured from a cartoon that's comedic and then change quite a few points to make it different. It's not Sphere. Oh god, I'm gonna have to start writing down tons of... This is good though. Solarium. I'll have a look. Gattaca. I need some less question marks and more like... I definitely saw that. It's my favourite movie and this is what it's called. Mission 88. I think I looked that one up as well. It's definitely not from 1969. Destiny in Space? Dang. These are some... I'm seeing some names that I haven't... Beyond the Edge. That I don't think... If you've just done a Google, isn't that movie made like a few years ago? Yeah, if you're going to suggest stuff, please help me out with some etiquette here. Just because I'm getting tons of names that I'm trying to collect. Right, it is not... Let's rule out past 2005. It's not that. It's more likely a 90s movie. It's not a comedy. It's not Event Horizon. Yeah, Beyond the Edge is 5 years old. Because I've done tons of Googling trying to figure this out, right? And I found Beyond the Edge, and it's not... It's definitely not that. Abraxas, Guardian of the Universe. I've noted that one down. It was definitely, by the way, it's definitely like a Hollywood American movie. Like, it didn't have an indie vibe as I remember it, or anything like that. It was not Contact. I've seen Contact. I was hoping that, like, someone had, like, well and truly seen it. And, like, could just give me the name as opposed to guessing. But I'm going to just write down a whole bunch of your guesses. Solar Crisis, 1990. Also, if you suggest one, tell me why you're suggesting it. Like, this is my guess. Or, like, hey, I just did a search and this might be it. Or, I've definitely seen it. Like, add a little context. I'm very curious as to why people are saying, like, what they're saying. Could you repeat the description? So it's like a ship approaches the edge of the universe, and they see a reflection of themselves, the ship, right? And it's... I'm pretty sure I just saw the trailer for this thing. And then when, after a moment, like, they notice that actually, like, the reflections of themselves are not the same. Like, the people on the other ship are moving around differently. It is not Sunshine. Was it Zufara? I couldn't tell you right now what the name would be. I think it's very unlikely that I would be giving a name and just go, oh, that's it. I don't think I ever knew the name of it. Describe the ship. I seem to remember it being white, but this might be where my brain starts to embellish a little bit. The ship design, I seem to remember being more like clean, spherical, not like a jagged ship or anything like that. Not a movie, but Lex. I don't think it was a series. And Lost in Space? I don't think it's Lost in Space, but I'll write it down. Isn't that the one with the guy from Friends? I mean, it could be. Maybe it is. That would be like the same sort of era. Isra 88 sounds close, but it's from 2016. It definitely would have been older than that. Moon 44, not Lost in Space. Lost in Space was a comedy. Yeah, yeah. Also, Becca seems to have... I'm interested to see what Becca will say, because there was excitement in those messages of like, I've seen that, or I know what it is. Yeah, it's not Event Horizon. Lost in Space is very recent. No, there was definitely a Lost in Space with the guy from Friends that I remember growing up. Anyway, you know, here's another thing. It might end up being a terrible movie, right? Like, I don't think I actually saw it, but dang, that premise, like, really stuck in my head. And years ago, I think I heard something where it made me think it was Event Horizon. And so that was just always, like, on the back of my mind to get back round to that movie. Now that I've watched it, I'm like, oh, dang, it wasn't this. Like, what is it then? I need to know. I do know what you are talking about. I have seen something like that, but it was long ago. I will need to think. There's also the question of, like, how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go? Sometimes I've, like, spent ages, like, trying to remember some game from my childhood and, like, looking through lists upon lists of, like, games from a console, and just, like, you can absolutely get obsessed and time sink. And it's probably not worth it, but there's something about that, isn't there? There's something about, like, that thing, and then it's like you can't have it, so you want it more, you know? I have not invested a lot of time yet into looking into it. I don't have that time at the moment, but, like, it's totally one of those, like, itches that you just want to keep scratching. It's definitely not an episode of Deep Space Nine. It is not Contact with Matthew McConaughey. Abraxas, I've written that one down. You see, I can't answer yes or no. I have to go, like, look it up after. It does sound like a Star Trek episode that something with Q would do. It definitely does, doesn't it? But I think I would have really remembered the characters of Star Trek and the tone of Star Trek. It did not have any of that. It had the tone of, like, a pretty typical American-style movie that's a thriller. And, like, the way I remember it, it's, like, got that kind of 90s trailer pace to it. I mean, it's a great way because, like, trailers today give you so much of a movie, whereas that one... How about Andromeda? Okay, I'll research that one after. Doppelganger. I don't think it is, but I will search all of these names after and hopefully get it at some point. Anyways, if any of you out there are curious enough and figure it out at a later date, or you're watching on the second channel, please do tweet at me if you figure out what it is, and provide a little context, like, this is my guess, or no, I've watched this movie, it's absolutely this one, there's no way it could be anything else. That's one thing I would love more in our communications, is like more context. Like often I'll talk about something, look up, and someone's saying, oh, like, that's a really good idea. And I'm like, which one? I just said 10 things, you know? Like lots of context in messages is really good. Journey to the Edge of Space. Is that on the list? It's not. I mean, the name is very apt, isn't it? What year did that one come out? Chonkui says, is X ill? I was at the beginning of my stream, and already my mood's been massively lifted. I do really love streaming. It's the one thing that I'd love to keep. Like, if ever this stuff starts to fall apart, you know, YouTube channel goes down the pan, got to go back to work in a regular job or something, I would love to keep the streaming going. It's funny, when I started streaming, it was more of a side thing to YouTube, and I'm not going to say this is a side thing to... No, sorry, the other way around. It's not the other way around, though. I just developed an absolute love for what we do here. It's so much... It's so cool. Just like the live hanging out experience. And the live interactions. Super awesome. Might be interesting to try and elevate that a little bit. Like maybe Mandela effect. Okay, that one's going on the list. Oh no, wait, you're saying it's a Mandela effect. It could be a personal, like, fabrication memory, but I really don't think it is. Like, you can embellish memory. Memory can change. You can, you know, forget the thing you're remembering wasn't a movie, but it was an episode. Like, but it feels so... It feels so, like, distinctively this, that I really do... I'm really confident it is a movie. How many people are on the ship? You know, that's where things get murky, but I kind of remember it not being a lot of people on when they look back and forth, and I think that would make sense not only... well, it would make sense because if you had lots of people on the ship, on the deck of the ship, for the viewer watching, that's like a fair bit of chaos to have tons of people running around, so it kind of makes sense that there wouldn't be a lot in order to tell the story. So I just remember it being really clear that you could see that they were like standing in different positions, and like it's this really startling moment where they're like, okay, like imagine it though. This is the other thing, right? Let's say this turns out to be a complete fabrication in my own head. Then I've got one heck of a movie idea right here. I don't know where it goes from here. I don't know how it becomes better or has a gratifying conclusion, but just picture it, you know, the idea of having the technology, we travel all the way to the edge of the universe. Maybe we learn how to, like, fold time and we can send some sort of advanced spaceship. And I imagine, you know, we kind of have to base it in the not-so-distant future, like several hundred years, so that you feel like, yeah, technology could get there in that time, but also people wouldn't be massively different to how we are now, which... Maybe if you compared how we are now to 100 years ago, and then 100 to 200, you might go, actually, people have changed a lot. Like, culturally, and how the world around us we've created shapes us. Anyways, because you need to relate to the characters, essentially, right? If people of the future are just totally different, the movie's less relatable. But yeah, you get to the edge of the universe, and, like, of all the things you were expecting to discover, it's a reflection. Probably considered that. Like, that wouldn't be a terrible idea when all the scientists are hanging out, theorizing, throwing ideas around. We got to anticipate as many things as we can. And we got the one for a reflection. We're like, okay, we accept it. It's a reflection. Let's do some experiments. But then you get there, and then you notice after a while that even though the ships have approached perfectly and all the things in the background line up and it's a reflection, you're standing in different positions on the deck, and it's like an immediate moment of like horror or fear or a thrill. I think it would be really hard to have a positive emotion in that moment, because now all of a sudden it's like, is it a reflection? Because they're not us. And then when, you know, the fear of the unknown will absolutely just take over in that moment. It will be like, Okay. That's not us. Like, what does this mean? Are they hostile? Was it their demons? Supernova, I'll write that one down. Again, for anyone still guessing, and I appreciate all the efforts, I've written down so much stuff. Probably a 90s movie. X's Reddit post asking this was pretty high on space-related Google searches at the moment. Oh, interesting, it's picking up the same language. Galaxy Quest would not be it. That's a comedy, I believe. Like a very quirky comedy. Shouldn't the feeling be excitement of often learning happens when your predictions are wrong? I agree, but this you're not looking at... Okay, it's very personal, right? You're not making an observation of something physical taking place in the universe. It's not like, hey, we ran this experiment and look, it wasn't what we thought it was, but now we've learned what it is. It's a moment where you think you're seeing a reflection of yourself, and then you find out it's not yourself, but it also is, right? Because it's another you that's doing something different. Like, it's like, imagine if you saw, one day you're walking down the street, you look up and you absolutely see a splitting image of yourself, right? Maybe they're wearing different clothes or something like that. Would you not immediately feel absolutely terrified? I think I would. And maybe that's not entirely a rational response, but it's like an absolute threat on your identity, you know? It's like, you are you, but maybe now there's two of you. Like, it feels incredibly personally invasive, and it can just all happen in an instant. That's what, you know, the premise for this movie is, if it's actually a movie and not a fabrication of my mind, but like, seriously good. And I've got a bit of a weird feeling that it might have been a smelly movie, because if this was, like, if the premise is that good, then maybe it would be a more known about movie, right? The fact that I've really struggled to find it, and yeah, it could even be just like a tidbit in a sci-fi show that I watched at one point in time, not actually a movie. Or I'm very aware that the memory might be distorted, right? Like that it's from a TV show or this thing or that thing, and it's sort of been embellished through memory into a trailer or something. But just, I don't know, something about the memory just feels so kind of precise. Damn, imagine being born then realise you have an identical twin alongside you, says the Thinky. Not really the same thing, right? Because identical twins, like, that's knowledge from before you realise you have knowledge, right? Like, that's just going to be inherently normal to grow up. If you have a twin, it's like, that's your world. Like, you grew up with your twin. I mean, maybe twins that get separated at birth and then meet again later accidentally, that might be terrifying. That would actually be a good explanation, wouldn't it? It's like, you see this doppelganger and then, like, you both stop and maybe decide to talk and then keep in touch, and eventually you learn, oh, you're twins that were separated at birth. But then you find out you both have identical scarring from that time you fell off your bike. And then you're like, I don't believe your stories anymore. You're clearly a plot. You're clearly part of a plot of some sort. Maybe you're merging two films. Anything is possible with memory. Memory is, you know, fickle. It's not a fact. But hey, I would love to find that if it is actually a movie, and then watch it again and just, you know, satisfy that itch. But yeah, I've mentioned it now, so I'm hoping that, like, some of you out there will be curious and do some research too, or maybe some of you have seen it and then want to, like, find it and share it. But who knows? Like, I'll leave it in your hands. I'm going to continue having a few searches. Sometimes you just need to leave it for a bit, and then your brain's like, oh, you could type this search combination, or you could browse space movies from 1997. Which is kind of what I think I'm in the mood for, watching some sort of 90s pace space movie. I've got a bit of... With the blues I've been feeling lately, every time I see something like nostalgic, I just get a bit like, oh. I was listening to some Dimmu Borgir earlier, and it was just made me think about old days and stuff. It's really weird for me, because a lot of my like youth and childhood was like quite traumatic and not pleasant, yet the things from it, like, really attached to, even though, you know, they've got like some negative baggage with them. You listen to Dimmu Borgir? I knew I liked you, says Era V1. I mean, I don't listen to Dimmu Borgir, I am Dimmu Borgir. Like, growing up, I was just utterly obsessed with that band, and still to this day, when I put on those classic records of theirs, I'm just like totally immersed in it. They'll always be my favourite band. You know, you can't quantify music into like good, bad, best. You can just experience in it, and you can experience music at different times in your life. I'll probably never get quite into some of their music as I did in the same way back then, like be that emotionally involved with it, but like I will always love how much I enjoyed it. I'll always remember how much like I got into that. It was just my everything. They were like, when I started to discover extreme music, they were one of the first that I were introduced to. So they were kind of like my gateway into, you know, black metal, death metal, all the extreme stuff that's out there. And naturally, they were the ones that I kind of got through all their stuff first, and it introduced me to loads of things you can do in music that I didn't realise was possible. And so I had just like absolute awe and wonder. Oh, that's what I wanted, some more Pains. Listening to their music, it was just like, whoa, all the time, because it's just so crazy and different from what I'd listened to before. I love the melody and flow of Dimmu Borgir, says Emmylou Didu. Yeah, the way they use melody in the music is amazing too. Quite replicatable though, I will say, but maybe, I don't know, because when I obviously there'd be like an influence for me writing music, and maybe it's just the fact that I've like sort of studied it through learning to play their songs, but you kind of pick up on some of the tricks and things that they do. I've got this one song on my record that will probably never see the light of day, that's got this like heavy Borgir influence. But it was like some of the parts of the song were just like possible because I realised what they were doing on the keys. It was like, alright, so you've got these power chords, and then the keyboard melodies are like arpeggios going up and down, and then shifting a key, or something like that. And then once you suss it out, and you then learn it as like a tool, it's like it becomes a tool in your arsenal for writing music. And you can, yeah, you can sort of iterate and do it yourself. Era says, wait, you publish music? I mean, not really. I put a few things out earlier in the year. It's always just been on hold, the music stuff for me. And it kind of tortures me a little bit sometimes that it is. It's always on hold. I've had so many urges to like fire up the studio lately and mess around with some ideas and just, I don't know. My problem is that I guess I got like quite vivid imagination and inspiration, and it can forever pull me in different directions, you know. It can forever change my mind about what I'm doing, and it's like a bit of chaos. Do you listen to Hip Hop X? Says Uzikok. I absolutely do. Love hip hop. By the way, I got this notepad open of movie names, and because of that, I've missed out on some noises in the ear. We got J Tater Tots here subscribing, and Olaf Vloss. Thank you for the 15 months, my dude. Greatly appreciated. Liger, I will look up that movie. That, however, is definitely too old to be the movie I'm thinking of, but maybe they remade it at some point in time. But yeah, I'm going to have a little dive into these movies after and maybe find the answer I'm looking for. What you need is musical collaborators. That is the ultimate motivator, I know from my experience. I've never done music collaboratively. I have, like, briefly on occasion. It's not that I need, it's time. I just know, like, it's a big chunk of time to commit, and I'm always trying to do so much. I think sometimes maybe I should have taken like a different approach, like have a day of a week that's just like music day, and then see what happens. I love the sound of that. And then immediately I'm just reminding myself, nope, this is happening, that's happening, you got to do this, you got to do that. Someday I'll figure it out, peeps. Someday I'll figure out how to balance it all. Bruh, Big Beard is here with the Prime. Bruh, thanks for subscribing, bruh. Appreciate it, dude. Thank you ever so much. Love the name. Do you see me, says Luca Played. No, I can't see you. I mean, don't you know how this works? There's no webcams. It's just text messages. Come on now. Hey X, are you good at skiing, says Lemon Panda. I ski. I don't know if you would classify me as good. I did last time I went skiing successfully make my way down a couple of blacks. So, you know, take that information and make of it what you want. All I know is I had a good time. And I miss it. Right, is there glass below there? There is. Another crystal over here. Farka Hayaku is here for 2 months, saying top 5 black metal bands. Oh, what a question. Appreciate it. Thank you for your subscription. Top 5, Dimmu Boogie is number 1. Emperor's got to be number 2. Burzum at number 3. And then it's like Mayhem or Dark Throne. Now, they're obviously all the classic Norwegian types. And there is definitely some other stuff over the years that I've enjoyed. But if it don't come to mind as quick as those 5, then... yeah. I mean, there's other stuff that's not quite fully black metal, or is, but there isn't enough of. Like, Aeon's Confer. If that band had been making music over the years since their first EP, they'd probably be up there for me. But with such a smaller body of work, I would defer to the other stuff. Yeah, that's probably it. That's probably it right there. Definitely the top 3. My brother was friends with Stein Aronson from Dimmu. He played in the band in the 90s, yes, and he was the one who had the top hat on. No, not the top hat. Wow. Some of those classic black metal pictures are just hilarious. I love them. They're funny. And there's quite a few in Dimmu's collection that are hilarious. One of them is where one of the guys is wearing a top hat, and then the other one is where he's like completely bald and like the whole head is painted white and it just doesn't look right. It's so cheesy and I love it. Oh, it was good stuff. But yeah, what about for you black metal fans listening? Like, what band do you think I should have mentioned? Maybe throw some names at me and I'll be like, oh yeah, what am I on about? Opeth, one of my personal favourites. Yeah, not black metal, but just an incredible band. Like, the sort of kind of band that's just in their own league, you know? Like, they only compete with themselves. Like, no one can really touch what they do. They've got a very unique vibe. Black metal isn't really my style, I'm more symphonic metal myself, says Starry Ravens. Well, my favourite cross-section is symphonic black metal. I mean, if you like Dimmu, that obviously makes sense. But yeah, I like symphonic metal, I like everything. Like, basically, if I can find a reason to like it, that's good. What makes something black metal versus death metal? Oh, great question, actually. A little bit of history for you. Death metal sort of comes first. It's like an extremification of thrash metal, which is like, you know, Megadeth, Slayer, Metallica, and you know, it's kind of got this more meaty, punchy type vibe to it, and then you got the sort of deep guttural growls. The guitars have a lot of, like, I don't know, like air quotes brutality. It's quite a punchy, fierce sort of sound. Black metal is like actually a rebellion to death metal. If you read a lot of what the black metal artists were saying at the time, they were sort of sick of death metal and wanted to do something different. You know, its origin story to me is fascinating because it doesn't just start in the 90s with the Norwegians, but like there is some precursor stuff to it, like Bathory and Venom. And like black metal's thing was to essentially be even more extreme than death metal, but it took a stylistic turn to like focus on evil and darkness, whereas death metal tends to focus on kind of death, horror, violence. Sometimes it gets a little surgical and uses a lot of like foul terminology, let's say. You know, like the classic Hammer Smash Face song. You know, that kind of is a bit more on the cheesy spectrum. And so what they tried to do with black metal was to take a different form of something extreme and dark and very, I don't know, like rebellious, which would be like evil and Satan and all this stuff, and thematically go in that direction. So then musically it sounds like it's generally faster. They use blast beats, which is like just a level up on the death metal drumming, and then really like shrill howls as opposed to like guttural vocals. And so it was like a way of going even more extreme, but sort of crafting a new sound and not making it feel like, you know, death metal 2.0 or something. Where the powder at? Have I used up all the powder? No, wait, it's right there. There we go. Blast beats, says Dunce Dog Music. A blast beat is where you... I mean, you can do it a variety of ways. I forget which way round sounds best, but it's like you'll hit the pedal and the hi-hat, and then you'll hit the snare. So it's like... But then, you do it like super fast, to the point where it sort of sounds a bit drony, like it's just... like coming at you. And I love that, because even though it's like intense and loud and startling, it kind of has this like ambient quality to it where it all just becomes this big texture of sound, and the drums are just propelling that sound. It feels like it's just cruising off into the distance. Emperors in the Nightside Eclipse would be just a great example of like all the sounds just sort of meshing into one big stream, and like blast beats are pretty essential to that. Right, let's grab this. The drums become a drone sound, says Dunce Dog Music. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like a momentous, you know, not like a fuzz drone, but just more like they become a bit more of a mood to the sound. They propel it along, they give it tempo, but it's not all groove, it's not like dynamic, it's very sort of forceful and propelling things along with speed. And yeah, not all blast beats sound great either, you know. There's a way of doing it that sounds good. What about Satyricon? I would not put Satyricon in my top 5. But yeah, they're a really cool band. Strangely enough, I never really got into Dark Medieval Times much. I kind of appreciate that band for what they did later on rather than earlier on. Stuff for like Fuel for Hatred, and then some of the albums they did after that were really more my cup of tea. Not sure why, just sometimes it's like that. What's the difference between Gothic metal and death metal then, says Starry Ravens? Okay, so Gothic metal, you're talking completely sort of different sense of theme, you know, like Gothic romanticism, and its darkness is more, I don't know, spooky horror, like cheesy horror movie sometimes. You got a lot of burly voices and a lot more use of strings and keyboards, and that means the songs are generally more thematic, more cinematic, tends to attract like longer songwriting, you know, songs that meander and go all over the place, is my experience of like at least early Gothic metal, which is one of the ones I never really got that big into at the time. That's been more of a retroactive discovery for me. Did you ever get into doom metal or sludge? Yeah, not massively into either of those, but I'm quite aware of like what they sound like and what they are. Seeing X passionately nerd out about music makes me grin uncontrollably, says Spinman. Yeah, I can't help myself, can I? I absolutely love it, like, inside out. That's why I've been doing my little music blog for so long, right? It's just a pure passion project. Every time I sit down and write about something, it's just... I love it, getting it off my chest. Have you ever heard the song A Blast Beat by June? It was in Need for Speed Pro back in the day. I have not heard that. I'll grab that for post-stream listening. We'll see what that one's about. I would totally watch an Xisuma teaches the history of metal through his personal lens. Sounds great, says Writes in Twit. I reckon I do an alright job because I've like spent a lot of time learning about this stuff. Yeah, and I feel like I can separate a little bit of objective and subjectiveness where required as well, because it's all personal on some level. Begley's here with cheers and bits saying, on Hermitcraft, what's the limit of custom models? Is there one that you guys have? And is it due to the limit that there probably won't ever be a costume shop? Or is a costume shop a good idea? I thought you were going to talk about the creative limit. I know Tango's door was like, I didn't know that he was going to do that. And the thing we sort of agreed on is that like, this is here for us to try and experiment with. So I don't think anyone's going to have a problem with it, but like, you know, we gauge the reaction and see what people think of doing stuff like that. I think Tango chose like a great project for it. If everyone started putting that in their base, like just having doors with custom textures and models, then I think, you know, the community might change tone on that a little. But I think for Decked Out, it deserves something like that, something unique and special. So, you know, creative limitations, it's very much a case of touch and go and see what's possible, see what works, both for us and for the community. As for technical limitations, it is simply just the pumpkin block, right? Just the pumpkin block. So you can put it on your head, but then, you know, you can't make a costume because when you move your head around, the whole model's going to move in reference to that. I mean, you could do something. You saw what the trees look like, right? Remember Tango and the trees? Like, that's giving you an idea of how a block model could be bigger than the player. But yeah, the limitations are that you can only do it with a handful of things. Like, you can put it on tools and items, but you can't put it on armor, for example. Just the jack-o'-lantern. It'd be nice to see Mojang actually give us the flexibility there. I think when you look at the direction the game has gone in Bedrock with the amount of customization and stuff, like, why not give us the ability to do this where we want? Like, you don't have to do it in survival, we've chosen to, but for map makers, which is like an equivalence to a lot of the creativity you see in the Bedrock space, like, it would just be a terrific tool to have. What was it? Purple concrete powder, yep, and then a thing on the side. And then one on top, and, you know, that's it. It's built. It's finito. Finished. Wow. Let's see if we can do some more things while we're here. While we're working. Actually, I tell you what, I should just prioritize for a moment. What did I say? Iron farm earlier? We want to go to the iron farm, and we want to do the daily quest. That was the other one. Right, that's looking way better now, that inventory. Nice and clean. So for the daily quest, I've got a feeling there might be just one for the granite. And then for iron, let's grab... Have I got a spare box? I left these over here for... Hello. Where have you come from? Don't shoot me. Can't we just be friends? I'm going to pick up all of this and then just go on a little trip. Ah! Get away. Right. We're heading to the daily quests and the iron farm bit. That's it, that's it. Smiley Lisa says she had a brother who listened to Norwegian metal. Yeah, so much good metal in the 90s. For me, the 90s is like the decade for music. I mean, hip-hop, black metal, grunge, groove metal. So much good stuff. And even like the, you know, the UK electronic scene for me was pretty darn amazing in the 90s. I think I'm just a product of being a 90s kid or whatever, but like, Something about that era, just in music, was just right. Oh, I've already done the granite one then. Okay, so I can't do that. I do need to do something. I mean... Oh, okay, this might be useful. We can get a daily on a tribute and... Ooh. I threw away my diamond horse armor already. I probably have deep slate copper ore somewhere. Smooth stone ore block. I might just take an easy one. There's like, yeah, get an advancement, I think is one, right? It's like, what's the easiest advancement possible here? Like I said, path of least resistance. Would be nice to find like a fun one too. Oh, apparently I've done that. Oh, do you know what? We did that. Okay, let's do this one. That'll be a bit of fun. Just go to the Nether, look at a ghast, and then eventually I'll have all three, right? So now we want to trigger custom set 38. Brilliant. Is it me, or is that sounded a little bit slow or something weird? I don't know. So I need to... I probably don't want to whiz around too much with all this stuff, but I need to make some rockets, and I need to... We're going to do this stuff in an awkward order basically. I'm stuck in the 90s as well, says Zimmy. With music, yeah. I mean, I'm still listening to music from all over time. Like, even though the 90s is great, there's loads of stuff coming out today that's awesome. My brain's farted again. Oh, yeah, over here. So, we want to stock up this place. And I'm just going to put some granite in here for now. Like, maybe I'll get one of those quests again. If no one comes along and uses this stuff. But for now, I'm not interested in it. We'll put it here for other hermits. And then some diorite over here. That's everything out of that one. Then andesite, cobalt, and stone. And then did one of these have just nothing but stone in? Nope. Andesite, cobalt, and stone. Beautiful. That is the purpose of this place. I did a bunch of digging, now I've dropped it all off. So now I need more rockets, so I still haven't built a sugarcane farm, so we'll go all the way over to get iron, and then I'll pick up some paper, and then we'll go back to the base properly. And then I'll, at some point, get to the Nether with... Yeah, I should have perhaps packed away the rest of this first, because my copper spyglass is over here, is it not? But yeah, we're going to come back here and try and finish this up. Just juggling a few other priorities in between, which is apparently quite difficult for me. What kind of metal would you recommend for people new to it? I would probably recommend a fair bit of like new metal-y stuff, but you kind of want to come in... You don't want to just listen to the heaviest thing ever, because unless you're already after that, it probably won't make much sense at first. But like something like Rage Against the Machine is probably a great starter. And then, you know, you listen to a bit of that, maybe you start listening to some Korn and System of a Down, and then maybe a little bit of Slipknot and whatnot, and Metallica, obviously. Right, I needed to get my spyglass, which should be in here. Yep. Put that on the hotbar. Okay, so that thing, this thing, number 2. That should really be dyed green, shouldn't it? That's from this project. This one will be from this project. Oh! Look at me, I managed to goose. Goose? Goof? What? Cool, am I going to get to everything with these few rockets? A9 Tour, thank you for the 17 months. Here saying, we are back. Came late because I'm unsure why therapy's in the title, but I recommend it to anyone who can afford it. It was me who needed the therapy. I just felt really quite low before streaming, and I feel way better now. In fact, I'm going to enjoy a little bit of time off even more now that I've been able to get things off my chest. Smiley says you listen to Danzig. Yes, I listened to all the Danzig records a few years back. Crazy how time goes by. I'm going to guess that was probably actually like 2018 now. Like 4 years. It's like, whoa, what happened? But yeah, I got into Danzig. They were one of those artists that would always be around the metal community. You'd have friends that liked them. You'd see it at concerts, but I never really knew anything about them. And something steered me into giving it a try. And then it was like, oh, this is totally awesome. And I'm kind of glad I never heard it before in a way, because I think it's the sort of thing I might have turned my nose up a little bit at when I was younger. But being an older, more mature person, now it's like, I listen to Danzig not because I'm like, I want to hear exactly what I want to listen to. It's more like, what's this artist about? You know, what do they offer? What's their vibe? Can I get into that? Otherwise, I'd just be listening to dimmable gear all day and nothing else. As much as I love them, you need some variety. Ghost can be a fun listen. Yeah, Ghost are awesome. For more silly metal, I recommend Ailstorm. It's power metal with pirate theme. Yeah, I've seen Ailstorm live. They're one of those bands I just never really got too into. I can't actually think of a pirate metal band that I ever did. Like, I don't know. I think there's not a lot of like comedic metal that I particularly enjoy. Maybe that's just like a vibe that doesn't quite work for me. I like someone like Devin Townsend in Strapping Young Lad, and how he, like, more so in the live shows, but it's in the music too. He does manage to layer in a bit of like silliness that's fun, but also just some absolutely amazing music right alongside it. Death Clock, yeah, that's great. I really like that mermaid, woo 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 woo. That one's hilarious. But like, apart from like one or two of those songs landing really well, again, it's just, I don't know, never that massively into it. Concerns me that I see bones in here. It's like skeletons are dying. What are they doing in here? They shouldn't be in this farm. It's bad for their health. In you go. Let's do that. I'm going to guess we've got a bunch of irons sitting back here. And I guessed correctly. Give me a medal. Let's do that again and again. Right, there we go. Picked up that. That's another job done. So now with these rockets, how many have we got left? Just need to traverse back to my base, make some more, fly through the nether, find a ghast, do all of those things. I think it's silly kind of metal is what puts people off the genre so much, says the Thinky. I think it's all that screaming and shouting and all that rah rah rah. I can't understand what they're saying. I don't want to listen to it. I have this experience of metal from the shower. Like, if metal's on in the background and I'm in the shower, I notice how all of a sudden it becomes really noisy and incoherent. And I think that's how most people hear it. Anyway, I've just adjusted my desk because I'm going to nip to the loo, and then when we get back I'm going to finish those things. So, don't go anywhere, peeps. I'll be right back, as it says on the screen. Guess what? I'm back. And I'm back with a hydration reminder, peeps. What goes out must go in, huh? Doesn't make any sense. Mmm. Oh gosh. Oh no. That was, oh god, I was all polite and then that happened. Oh, these bodily functions. Bodily reflexes, excuse me, yeah. Excuse me, sorry. What were you drinking? Just water? Oh, just water. Cheers, mate, says Zora Spinamana. Cheers. Cheers, everybody. Cheers. Do you listen to Rammstein? That would be another good introductory level. Oh, and Sabaton as well. Dutch Whitey. Saying, what do you think of Sabaton? I was listening to them the other day. Really good band. Very unique experience for me because I'm less into them as a band. Maybe more into them as people in a weird way, because my enjoyment of them has been through their Sabaton History channel. That's what helped me really get into it. They hooked up with Indy Nidell, who's one of my favourite war historians, and that was just a great encouragement to get into them. So I listened to them before and not really liked it, but then all of a sudden understood their music better, why they did what they did, and that really opened the door for me. And their last two records I've like enjoyed a lot. Some really good records. So yeah, I'm really liking Sabaton. What are we doing here? Oh yeah, I want to put some of that in here. Because I made a beacon, the rest of it can just get dumped over here for now. Then we're going to need some gunpowder, which I know is somewhere in here. Make some papes, some paper, and then make some rockets. So I need another half stack of gunpowder. Somewhere, one of these, this one, yep, that's where the sugarcane goes. Do that as well. Right, so that's from something else. So now I'm going to have another box of rockets to hand. And we just got to go find a ghast in the Nether. I'm curious about your opinion on Insane Clown Posse. Do you have any of them, even though they're considered more hip-hop? I really like them. I really like the Insane Clown Posse and what they've got going for them. It's like, it's not me. I'm not like a juggalo, and I don't listen to them a lot. When I was younger, I like came across quite a few of their songs over Napster, like Hocus Pocus and Assassins and some of the other classics. I really like their first record. That's the one record of theirs I've like given quite a listen. I noticed when I came through there's a bunch of stuff written on the screen. It's gone away now. I think they're an easy band to hate, and it's harder to like find reasons to like them and respect them. And you can certainly find them saying a bunch of rubbish, like, you know, all kids should smoke pot or whatever. It's like, yeah, whatever. But then you can also find them saying some good and interesting things too. And I just think, you know, it's easy to punch down at them, whereas actually they're pretty interesting group if you learn about their history, how they kind of made their way for themselves. You know, a lot of DIY self-promotion. Oh! Yeah, that's... Oh my god, I'm gonna get wrecked. Don't stop here! Oh man, why is this so long? Take me to where the ghasts are. Just want to see a ghast, homie. I mean, usually they're just harassing you non-stop. Oh, isn't... No, wait. Soul Sand Valley is skeletons and ghasts, though, right? I think it's ghasts, too. ICP stream on Twitch. Oh, interesting. Yeah, like I said, I just think they're one of those bands that are easy to hate, to clown on. But are actually like pretty awesome if you think about what they've done for themselves. And some of the things they've had to go through, like being classified as a gang, which is a load of nonsense. Where the ghasts at, man? They're always after me. Just not today, apparently. What biome is best for ghasts? It is the Soul Sand Valley, isn't it? There. I heard you. Where are you? Let me get my spyglass out. Can you start shooting at me, please? That's what you usually do. There you are. Oh! No! Time to leave. I got an advancement, peeps. I got... Is it a balloon? No, it's a ghast. Job's done. Woo! They were all in a row. They were all in a perfect little row, weren't they? That was weird. Oh! Oh. Uh-oh. Oh, we're good. Dang, how long is this tunnel? Woohoo! So now that I've done that I'll turn in my daily shard. And then we'll go back to working on the LA area, yeah? Ghasts are only around when you don't want them. That feels very true. Very true. Leonard says with video evidence. Not that we needed it, but yeah, we got video evidence. I like their music. I like a lot of their music, but Lord, they have the most repulsive, offensive lyrics I've ever heard, says the Thinky. Yeah, they are pretty much that lyrically at times. That's sort of the point, though. I really like it on the first record. I can't tell you why. It gets a bit much for me later on, but I don't know, just like the crude crassness of it's just got its own kind of thing going. Yeah, every now and then I think of like doing the little ICP journey through like their first 5 or 6 records on my blog, but haven't been fully in the mood for that. In a shop that I go to had a lot of Christmas decashons being sold already. I don't know what Christmas decashons are. Doofus230, thank you for 11 months. We also got Pulse1147 here for 51 months. Thank you so much for the tremendous support. We're talking about ICP, Insane Clown Posse. Yeah, and I do think you know, that first string of records they have, they are really unique as an artist. There's like not much out there that sort of compares or competes with what they do. And that sort of led to them building, you know, their own kind of like network of similar artists, because they've signed tons of artists that kind of embrace their ideas. Now, when we make the Soul Sand Lanterns, don't we need soul soil, not soul sand? Because I thought I had some soul sand in there, and clearly I don't. Also, the glow lichen goes around the edges here and there out here. It's all been carefully designed to make sure nothing can spawn in this area. I remember reading a review on X's blog about it. It looks interesting. Maybe I did at one point. Maybe I did do. Do you know what? I think this has only ever happened once, but one time I was writing about a record, and then I started to get this feeling of like something's off here. And then I went and looked it up and I'd already written about the record. I was like, oh, okay. I guess I already did that. A bit late, but what are we doing? Just putting the finishing touches on this build, essentially. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of bushes and other details over here. We're probably not going to finish this today, but nonetheless, we can do what we can with what we got. We should probably go get some more glow like in. It's been a while since I used that farm. Ah! Well, there you go. Now I got to. And then soil. Bit annoying I didn't realise that already, but yeah. Because we need soul soil for the lamps, right? I'm pretty sure you can't do it with soul sand. So a soul lantern from a soul torch. Oh, you can. Well, that was worth checking then, wasn't it? We can continue doing that. So I'm going to need a bunch of sticks. More than that, I've got a bunch of this. Which is how I make sticks on the go now, because we've got our farms for that. Those farms are brilliant. Yeah. Then we need some of that, and then we need some coal. And now we've got all of these things. Let's do this. So that'll make me... That'll probably do for now, but let's go a little bit more adventurous. There we go. Then what was it? I needed iron around it, and we just stocked up on iron. That'll be over here. How's that? 40 of them? Another 60 there. I think I'll leave that. Put those in there. These for here. And then I gotta make this into sticks. And then a bunch of those. Right, let's get out there and place these. Iron farm plans. I've already made an iron farm, so the plans are to continue using it. Oh yeah, and I need the glow lichen while I'm travelling around here. Dang. I'm not sure if I'm going to need to rip out some bone meal or not. There you go, there's some in there. Oh, and I guess I should put my spyglass back. See, everything in this game, boxes, 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 boxes. I mean, I know I complain a lot, but... Hey, wait, I never took the bone meal. It's just... I don't know, it gets a bit much sometimes, right? Then you come back and you're like, where is the thing that I need? It's somewhere in here. The Penguin Girl says, I feel really embarrassed now. Why would you feel embarrassed? What's that about? Geordie7859, thank you for 23 months. Hope you had a lovely break. Thank you, I did very much have a lovely, lovely break. Last season, X used a colour coding system. Now he doesn't. It almost bugs me. It bugs me too. I just need to make a dye farm, and I keep, like, I don't know, messing around and then not sure, or do this thing or do that thing. I've just been very unfocused this season, essentially. It kind of probably makes sense to just stock some of this up, right? And probably not even balanced, is it? Oh, do you know what I need? I need shears. Well, luckily, I'm in a place where there's iron. Otherwise, that might have been a bit too much for me. I might have been right, not again. Oh, I just emptied it all. I emptied all. Has another golem not spawned yet? Come on, what is this? Is the farm turned off? Right, I can't remember if that's on or off. Oh, I mentioned that something keeps going wrong with this thing every now and then. So it's still on, but the golems have fallen down. Now, how would they get over there? Maybe it's a... Well, actually, we're still in... Maybe it was when we went to 1.19 that it became a problem. Right. Okay, we've got to kill these golems then. This can't go wrong. How do I want to do this? Let's break a single block and hop up. Right, what's the safe way to kill you goons? Basically stand back here. Yeah. Not too difficult. Just don't hit me, because you hit hard. Right. Goodbye. Ugh. That'll do. That's all I need, but I guess I also want to clear... Oh, gosh, you hit me. I do want to clear them out to some extent. This can't go wrong, says Riabu. You'd think that. I thought that was a torch for a second. I was like, no, not the torches. That's part of the redstone gizmo. I lost my hardcore world to an iron golem. Be careful. Yep, always got to be careful. Oh, down we go. Terrence says, what is happening? I look up the stream and the first thing I see is I need therapy. Yes, I do, and thank you for giving me your therapy. I knew that doing a live stream would make me feel better. It might not last for long. Am I doing this right? Why I got... made a mistake. Yeah, that's the way you do it. Yeah, no, I had a real slump of a mood earlier today, and I think this stream has shooken me out of it for now. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming by and hanging out with me. We got 1337 viewers. Oh, elite number. That means I'm special, I think. Glad you feel happy. Please stay happy, says Riabu. I'll try my best. I'll try my best, but moods are a fickle things, ups and downs, you know. X, just asking you, no, been to a Poundland. I know what a Poundland is, and on occasion I've been in one. Depends on when I need stuff. X, have you ever seen a mental health provider? I have. I mean, they say that you, and like when I did, and it was at a point in my life where I needed it, like a lot, and it helped me a lot, and then I've not really gotten back into it. Like, they do say that you can, you know, sort of have therapy at any point in time. You don't have to wait until something bad happens, but there is so much you can do with your time, and there are all these things that I'm trying to do, and it's just like another one in the mix. I don't think it's going to work. What if someone earned 100 CR, you'd be in big trouble? I don't know what 100 CR is, and I don't know why that would put me in trouble. Right. So now that we've got the lichen, and we got the fence and the lanterns, you know, let's put them in. Let's get this thing lit up. The sun is going down, so it'll be an interesting time to get this thing lit up, that's for sure. Because as I mentioned, all the different arrangement of blocks mean that nothing can spawn anywhere. Which seems a bit strange when you got that right next to a lantern, but apparently it's important. Because I went around and checked this build and made sure it had all that it needed. Could always put a few extra too, but it's been carefully done. One over here. And a couple more there. The idea was to mix the two so it doesn't become like overburdened by them. I play a lot of modded and vanilla, a good mix of the two. For me, I'm a one-world player really. It's very difficult for me to play multiple Minecraft worlds, but I absolutely love doing a bit of modded every now and then. I'm sure I'll have an opportunity to do it again at some point in time. And it'll be fun. I always hope as well that the mod packs have like developed a bit and that like some new ideas have come along, but usually mod packs have been sort of the same experience for a long time, right? And I was quite interested in Vault Hunters at one point in time because it was like new and different, but it's a very like grindy sort of Diablo grind for gear type game, and I prefer to like engage my creative muscles most of the time. Like I like the game's challenge to involve me thinking and figuring things out. Is essentially what I'm looking for. I reckon maybe I'll do a creative mod pack experience, right? These ideas always float around of like doing a creative world where, I don't know, you're able to do more because you're in creative, right? But I'm always here playing survival. Maybe next time I do modded, I should be like, you are cursed, my friend. Absolutely cursed looking squid. Why are you not moving? That's moving. You're not. What's wrong with you? You are a strange little squiddy. Just sit. Did your eyes just blink? I think that was me. Oh, get wrecked. And your friend. And your other friend. And I get ahead. Look at me. I'm the master of the seas. That's who I am. Beautiful. I think that we have placed the last of the lanterns and the glow lichen, and I am liking the progress that we have made today. Oh, did you see it? Did you hear it? I am like because of this block. It's called like. I think you understand. I think you get it. That one might have been a little bit complex. I apologise. You know. My jokes are layered, they work on different levels, and sometimes I rearrange those levels. Ugh. You know, I put this one here and that one there. Goodness me, it's hard to keep up, I know. I need some daylight, there's stuff that's bad for me here. Let's get in that bed. I don't get it, can someone explain, says Fair. I can't even explain, so what's the point? Alexis L. 0075, 3 months. Hello there, how's everyone doing? Well, I was doing not so great at the beginning of the stream, and now I'm doing alright at the end, so all good. Let's just say it's all good in the hood, homie, you know? Let's put some things away. What did we take out? But like these gaps, I know what they were. They were coal and coal blocks. The gaps concern me. I'm like, my memory does not remind me of what this was. Okay, I'm going to need like a random one to put stuff in. That'll probably do for now, actually, when I nip back to the base. Oh, do you know what we didn't do? We didn't sort out the shard. Okay. Never blocks up here. Number 2, where are you? Number 6, number 12, and it's all good. All good in the hood, homie. Hey, there's one more thing I can do here. Yeah, what is that? Looks crazy weird. What did we do today? We looked at a ghast in a spyglass, and we built a tree. And this area is almost there now, just a few more bits to do and it's done. Right. Get in there, you sucker. My friends, thank you so much for coming by and hanging out with me today. It's been a pleasure. And I will try to stream again on Wednesday. That is my plan for now. But as of right now, we've come to the end of our adventures. A big thank you to everyone who subscribed, resubscribed, donated and cheered. Y'all are appreciated. Thank you to my mods, my patrons, the people gifting subs. And I guess it makes sense to raid Impulse, who is just getting ready to start his stream on Hermitcraft. So, you know, continue the Hermitcraft action by sticking around and hit that follow button before you go over to Impulse as well. That's it from me. Take care, everyone. Ciao for now. Bye-bye.